Seventh grade, what's up? It's Mr. Vicks. You know what time it is. It's Bulldog Table Talk. Red Table Talk without the red table and Jada Pinkett Smith. So we're going to have a great conversation today. Teachers, we are glad that you're able to participate with us. We want to thank you for you guys making this a success, for you guys participating in our survey this week on things that we need to work on, as far as scholars to become the better version of ourselves. So, without further ado, we're going to go ahead and get this party started. On here are some of the subjects that we are going to be talking about today, right here. That's not what we're going to be talking about right there. We got to save it. We're going to be talking about a lot of different stuff. Of course, we're going to talk about grades. Progress reports did hit on Friday. We'll talk about Lexile scores. We're going to also talk about teacher scholar relationships. We briefly got into that last week. So hopefully we can have an honest and open discussion on how our relationships can be better with our teachers. All right. So without further ado, like I said, we're going to go ahead and get started with our Lexile scores. I'm going to share my screen so we can talk about what things or we need to do to make sure that our Lexiles are the best possible way. I'm going to share a screen for you from the teachers to classroom.com, and we're going to go through some of the tips that they use in order to make their Lexiles higher for their scholars. Before we do that, also, remember in seventh grade, your Lexile at the end of the year should be about 1,010. Your Lexile should be 1,010 on your milestone. When you take the milestone, you'll be able to see a Lexile when it's completed, or the stretch band where you should be at. So you should be able to hit that mark. We're going to give us a couple tips. It should be a couple tips for you to be able to make sure that your Lexile is at a max at the highest possible point where it should be at. And if it isn't, don't worry, you'll always get there. And I put should, and if it should be. My bad, y'all. Trying to host the show and type at the same time is not kosher. So don't try to type and host the show at the same time. All right, so either way, let's get this. Let's go ahead and get started where we need to do. All right, step one. Of course, we use a universal screener to find out where your Lexile is at, or your math quantile score. Your quantile score should be above 750 for math. Like I said before, your Lexile should be about 950 to 1,050. That's a good part of stretch band for your grade level. When you get to eighth grade, believe it or not, your Lexile, when you take the milestone, is a promotional requirement. You need to be at a 1097. So during our advisement, I've taught the students, I want you to try to have a goal to have your Lexile at 200 points higher than what it was when you took the milestone. So let's say, for instance, your milestone score was an 800. Not milestone score, your milestone Lexile was 800 in sixth grade. You really want it to be at 1,000, 1,010. So there's different ways to do that. One is to make sure that you're reading during the summer, so that way you won't have any learning gaps from May to September, because we come back to August, it's really rituals, routines. You just start instruction, then you're going to take a screener at the end of the month. Then you don't know if you're going to be in a support class like Math 180, Read 180, or System 44. Some of y'all may be asking, why am I in System 44? System 44 is a class where you're dealing with syntax and phonics issues, which means sounding out letters and recognizing letters and sounds, recognizing the syntax of words being put together. Read 180 is for those who are having difficulty with Deutsch words, or context clues, or reading comprehension. So those are some of the reasons why students are saying, well, I'm still in Read 180. Well, you're having a comprehension issue or some sight word issues where you need to vote that up, then you'll be bumped out of that class. Math 180 is simple enough. Math comprehension, math statistics, anything math related that you're struggling with, because remember, math is one of the few subjects that builds on top of the previous year. So that's why you have 6th, 7th grade pre-algebra, algebra, geometry, algebra 2, pre-cal. Those things build upon the stuff that you learned in previous years. So if you're struggling with ratios and proportions, in sixth grade, guess what? You're gonna have to do ratios and proportions in seventh grade, and you're gonna if you're struggling with that, that's why you probably that in certain other areas like base 10 theories in math. That's why you probably in math 180 right now as well. Now, some students think like I have 1100 Lexi. Why am I in a reading support class? Well, unfortunately, we only have two math 180 classes and have two math support classes. One of those is for the accelerated math students. So that spot is taken up already by those students. So if you are if you want math support, or we're lacking in that, just to say the least. We need another section, to be honest with you, but we just don't have it right now. Just not allocated for that at this moment. If you let's now getting back to why we're here talking about Lexile, that's the main thing what we're talking about. That's one of the strategic goals for our building as far as a continuous improvement plan, and make sure everybody's reading at or above grade level. So we want to make sure your step one is make sure your screen books that provide the range. So basically, you have the media specialist, Miss Withers, and you have Miss eBay, the media clerk. They are a great resources as far as finding books that are within your stretch Lexile band. So let's say, for instance, your Lexile is 800. That's 150 points below the stretch band where you should have been at sixth grade milestones. You want to find books that are above your Lexile. You don't want to go below it because that's not going to challenge you. You want to make sure you're above your Lexile as far as where you should be at, as far as where your Lexile should be. So different books. Let's say, for instance, we'll get to how to find different books. What websites to use? What's the website to use as far as finding books that are at your Lexile? Number three, you gotta work on your personal vocabulary and exercise and reading. That basically means you need to read more and use your context clues to define words as well. You got to expand your vocabulary. For instance, if you got a dictionary app on your phone, if you don't have the dictionary app on your phone, put it on there. If you Google word of the day, that's how you build your vocabulary. Another way to build it is an old school way back in my day. I know y'all got some jokes out there about Mr. Vicks, you old. Don't do that. Don't do me like that. But one thing we need to look at is while we're old. I'm old, but it works. Look at the dictionary and go through the dictionary, one word a day or 2-3 words a day. Write them down, define them, spell them, use them in a sentence. That's another way. But you have to expand your vocabulary in order to expand your Lexile score. You have to make sure you can read at a glance without decoding. That make it a lot better. If you have to figure out what that word means, that's what kind of slows you down as far as your Lexile score. Another option would be to also, if you have an audio book, or you have somebody read aloud to you, that way you can hear those words, hear the auditory, how to enunciate those words. That's another way as well too. And the fifth way, make sure you'll check your Lexile. Of course, we do 3 screeners a year. We do a fall, winter, and spring. So you're going to get screened 3 times a year to check your status. And scholars, once you take the milestones, you'll be able to log into your NWEA webpage and see your scores. There should be no reason why you do not know what your Lexile is. None whatsoever. You have to know what your status is, so that way where you could be accountable and advocate for the things that you need to make sure that you are successful. You have to know where your status is as far as your Lexile score. Now, I want to go to progress reports. Let's go to progress reports. Let's say, for instance, I want to find out my score. I want what my Lexile score is from. So let's say, for instance, I'm gonna log in as a parent, of course. I'm going to show you where to find it. Of course, you go to your student portal. It will look exactly the same like the parent. So there's no difference. You check your grades frequently, I applaud you. You're doing a great job. Now, let's take a look at documents. Right here, we're going to go to documents. Once you go to documents, I'm going to change. Let's see, go to my 11th grader. I'm going to make this a little bit bigger so you can see it. Okay. Teachers out there, how you doing today, teachers? How my teacher, my wonderful 7th grade teacher team of teachers, 7th grade. How you doing? All right. We're in student portal or parent portal. We're going to click on 3 lines right here. Make sure the black side pops over. And we're going to click on documents. Once you click on documents, you're going to see this right here. You're going to see the drop window is going to say 22-23. You're going to keep the 22, 23 here. Matter of fact, you ain't got a choice. It's got to stay right there. All right. So once that stays there, you'll be able to click on progress report T1 or report card T1. You'll be able to access all your report cards when it pops up, when it's time to pop up. So, but right now, we only need progress report term 1. So we're going to click on that right now. Extra window is going to pop up. It's going to be a PDF document. All right. I can't remember what it means, so don't ask me. I can't remember. I'm just going to be honest. Now, this is my 11th grade milestone score. As you can see, they're in high school. You can see 4 classes. When you go to high school, you're gonna be on block schedule. So that means you are going to only see your four class for that semester. Block schedule. You're gonna take 4 classes in a semester and get a year credit for it if you pass a class. So you're gonna take 4 classes this semester. Then in high school, you're gonna take 4 classes next semester. The way Dutchtown High School does it, you take 2 core classes and 2 electives or pathway classes. So let's say, for instance, you might take ELA and social studies along with PE and band or something like that. And the next semester, you're gonna take science and math, and you're gonna probably take Spanish and a pathway class. We'll say intro to business technology. That'll be your 4 classes. Of course, those classes are gonna be longer. It's gonna be 85 minutes per class. You're gonna meet every day. They have an IF built in. You have a homeroom also. So it's going to be different. I'm telling you the stuff now. So that way, when you go to 8th grade, you won't be shocked. So Miss Smith is going to let you know this stuff right here. All right. Now look at the progress report. You're going to see, let's build it up a little. Let's make it a little bit bigger. Okay. Y'all should be able to see it a little bit better now. You're going to see the absences. You're going to see the grades. See if we slide over a little bit. You're gonna see it's gonna say conduct. You should get a conduct grade for all classes. You also should see a 4.5 week average right here. You're gonna see this person got 2 A's and 2 B's. Not bad. I need to talk to them about this C and chemistry, but that's neither here nor there. I'm not gonna fault them for doing their best. So 2 A's, 2 B's. That's 4, 8, 3, 6 times 8 plus 14 divided by 4. 14. Let's divide that right quick. Somebody need to calculate that for me. Somebody in the audience, calculate that GPA for me and tell me what it is right quick. And somebody put the response in the chat. 2 A's and 2 B's. What's that GPA? What's that GPA in that class? What's that GPA? What's that GPA? Somebody put it in, something in there. Okay. I see you. It's gonna be 3.5. It's gonna be a 3.5 GPA. It's gonna be a 3.5 GPA on this GPA. All right. So Lexals and grades. Lexals GPAs, parent, teacher, student. That relationship is very important. We definitely need to talk about teacher relationships, as far as what can we do, far as make sure that relationship is where it should be. What can we do? What can students do to make sure that everybody respects everybody? That's the one thing. One thing we got one thing we need to make sure we gotta have that relationship regardless. Or in the dictionary, my favorite word that I know is not a word is irregardless. It's a word. It's new word. Webster's recognizes irregardless. I know you're laughing at me right now. I meant to be what the word, but as a student, in order for us, when I was a student, I wanted to be respected by my teacher. But in order for me to gain respect from my teachers, I have to give that same respect. So if I'm coming to class late, or if I'm always getting up, moving around in my class and yelling out stuff, blurting out, or just talking to students while instruction is going on, of course the teacher's going to redirect me. Now, there can be better ways to redirect, yes, but at the same time, we got to make sure we're doing things on our end as a scholar to make sure that we are not inhibiting the instruction for not just myself, but for all scholars in my class. So I want to make sure that I'm doing everything I need to do to make sure that my class is successful. I'm successful in my class. Make sure my classmates are are successful as well. As well as teachers, same thing. We Yeah, we're the teacher and everything, but we need to make sure that we look at all scholars as individuals and not just a bratty child or anything like that. So respect can go both ways, but making sure that we check ourselves before we try to check an adult. You shouldn't check an adult, but if it's something that you don't like, of course, you could come to me about the issue, or Miss Wiley or Mr. Wiley. Tell your parents to advocate for you. This is the word I said at the beginning of the year: self-advocating. And if it's something that you see is not right or something's not where it should be at, there's nothing wrong with saying something. Not saying anything is just as bad as not doing anything about it. So you want to make sure that you're checking yourself, make sure I'm doing the things I need to do in class to make sure I'm successful, making sure that everything's equitable and copacetic in my classes as well. Um, what else? I think the chat should be working now, Ms. Wright. I think you might have to refresh the screen, but we only have a couple minutes left. If we have any questions that are left for scholars and teachers that might want to ask anything, but I'm trying to think anything else we could talk about. I know we had code switch as one of the topics we should cover. Making friends, growth and fixed mindset. We could definitely talk about that when we come back after the break. That's going to be that's in depth right there. How to have a growth mindset and things that we do. Um, before we go, let's show the data from this past survey. Let's make this screen a little bit bigger here so we can show you the things that so the responses from some questions. While we're here, let me go ahead and change the settings to stop taking responses. Let me uncheck that, and that way it's checked, so nobody can try to add on to that. All right. So we have 701 and 703 had the most people participate in the survey. We have 44 and 41. 44 people from 701, 41 people from 703. We had 3 people from 702. Then we had 8 people from Ms. King homeroom, and then Ms. Richardson had nobody participating in theirs. But we'll make sure that next when we do the survey, I'm gonna put out a little bit. I put it out for a couple of days, so I'll make sure you get another survey to use on the Wednesday to respond. So that when we come back after the break, I know what to talk about. But I definitely know growth and fixed mindset is going to be one of those things. If you know that as a teacher that's forgetting to log into the meetings, to the table talks, just knock on the door and say, "Hey, don't forget about the link Mr. Vicks sent." All right. So let's scroll down right quick. Here are the responses that was given by the people that participated. I can't do nothing about it. Grades right here were number one. Teacher scholar relationship. Lexile score was what I was going to talk about anyway. So those 3 things are major on topics we'll talk about. Growth mindset will be on the next show. Making friends will be on there also. Small groups, that's on 2 people. We'll talk about it in a minute. And other, some of y'all put some fun stuff. Okay, what fun stuff? What is that? We need to be more specific. We say we need some fun stuff. Like fun what you want to talk about? Jobs, lockers. Okay, just time to go to locker. You should know your combination. Dress code. That's been like that since you were in kindergarten. Elementary holidays. What elementary holidays? So they had the same holidays as everybody else. Class periods. Yeah, what it is. Sports. This is not a sports show. So you need to be passing 6 or 7 classes to play sports. Okay. If you're not gonna play. You playing football right now, you failing 2 classes. Don't even think about suiting up. Let's just put it like that. And if you fail through 2 more classes in spring, don't think you're going to play this semester. And if you fail 2 or more now, you're definitely not going to play this year. So just you want to talk. Somebody want to talk about sports? We talk about it. Pass your class, then you be able to play sports. All right. If we don't have any other questions from the gallery, we're gonna end this one, and I can't wait to see you guys in the hallway. I'll holler. I'll holler at y'all. Bye bye. Peace up. A-Town.